Well, on Fanalysis, we take the statistical metrics made famous in fantasy football and combine them with the analytics of sports betting. The result are the numbers that tell us where the sharp money lands. We are joined now by Frank Stampfl of SportsGrid and the Chief Product Officer at the Quant Edge, Eliot, Crist, both joining us. Good to have you guys in studio. So you guys are both here that you can argue over which side the sharps are lining up on. And I'd like to start things off with the Dolphins against the Jets. Week 14, the numbers are showing a little bit of an advantage here, at least maybe for the Dolphins, possibly. Do the numbers suggest that their last meeting was an anomaly or something repeatable? We'll start with you, Frank.
It definitely seems like something repeatable, in my opinion. You look at, what the Dolphins did in that game, and Ryan Fitzpatrick specifically throwing for nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week, they upset the Philadelphia Eagles. He throws for 365 and 3 touchdowns as well. He should be able to have some success this week as well. The New York Jets don't get a lot of pressure. They're dealing with a lot of injuries in their secondary. Jamal Adams, the heart and soul of the Jets defense, doesn't look like he's going to play in this game. They're without 2 starting cornerbacks as well. So you have all the injuries on the side of the Jets and the fact that they are 21st in pass defense DVOA. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick, the way that he's playing with Devontae Parker right now, the Dolphins should be able to have a lot of success against the New York Jets.
So what, there's no measurable to the revenge factor? And I'm not talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick revenge against his former team. He's got like 20 former teams that he goes up against.
There is no revenge factor.
There is, okay.
When it comes to Adam Gase and the New York Jets here against the Dolphins, we thought that there could have been
the embarrassment was so far in the past that they don't even think about it right now.
We thought that there could have been a revenge factor the last time these two teams matched up, but it wasn't there.
I guess there wasn't a real metric here, but as we take a look at the numbers, Eliot, it looks like there could be a play on the over/under as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, to echo some of Frank's points, the defenses in these games are horrendous, right? I mean, the Dolphins are one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, specifically on deep balls, right? They're 4th worst on allowing deep yards in the NFL. So that means big plays. And like Frank said, the Jets are down 3 secondary starters from last week. And most of those guys were backups already.
Yeah.
Like these teams are decimated in the back end. Neither team gets any pressure. The Dolphins are dead last in adjusted sacks, while the Jets are 7th in adjusted sack rate. So neither team can get pressure. They both give up big plays. Darnold's played a lot better football of late. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he looks like Ryan Fitzmagic. Like you said, it's his revenge game every week. But, I think there's going to be a lot of points. And I think even parlaying these, because it's correlated with the Dolphins, scoring points and covering 5.5 makes a lot of sense this week.
All right, let's stay in the AFC East here with the Bills. 5.5-point home dogs to the Ravens in this one. Frank, is this a matter of which team is going to find more holes in the opposition's defenses?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, I think it leans towards the Baltimore Ravens because if you look at the deficiencies of the Bills defense, they are really good against the pass, but they do struggle against the run. And obviously, what Lamar Jackson and this Baltimore Ravens offense has been able to do all season long. They're averaging over 200 rushing yards per game. They are by far the highest rushing offense in the NFL by over 60 yards. So I think the fact that, they're going to be able to run with Lamar Jackson, and honestly, do you want to get in the way of the league's MVP right now? I understand Josh Allen has played really well, but you look at how this Baltimore Ravens secondary has played as well. Since Marcus Peters has joined this team, no quarterback has thrown for multiple touchdown passes against this Ravens secondary. I mean, that includes names like Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, and nobody has had success. So I don't want to get in the way of the Baltimore Ravens right now, and I do think that they will be able to find running lanes against this Bills defense.
And again, Eliot, the over-under is 45.5. Is that going to draw interest, do you think, from the Sharps?
I think that number is about right because both these teams have really good defenses. And like Frank was mentioning, ever since Marcus Peters got traded, it coincided with Jimmy Smith coming back as well. They've been one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have scored over 30 points offensively in every single game other than the game against the 49ers where the rain really helped them out. Frank mentioned the Bills defense, but if you look at it, their schedule, they've had one of the softest schedules in the NFL. In terms of pass defense, they have the easiest. In terms of overall defense, they've had the 4th easiest. This is not an easy game on the schedule.
No.
Bills at home getting 6, you would think is a sharp side, but honestly, the Ravens could easily steamroll this team.
And you know what? The Bills have done what good teams are supposed to do with soft schedule, and that's win those games, take advantage of it, get to the playoffs, and see what happens. Just so happens this week they're facing probably the top team in the AFC, no doubt about that. All right, the Giants getting 9.5 points now in Philadelphia. That was at 8.5 earlier. Now it's at 9.5. Eliot, it's also the return of Eli Manning in this game. We saw what Andy Dalton's return did for Cincinnati. Do the Sharps see that Eli is good enough to help beat the spread?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple guys that are coming back for the Giants, right? Eli Manning, Evan Ingram. And quite frankly, the Eagles shouldn't be 9.5-point favorites over anyone. They're coming off a game where they were 10.5-point favorites and lost outright to the Miami Dolphins. This offense doesn't have big-time playmakers, right? Ever since Deshaun Jackson got injured, Wentz is averaging like 6.3 yards per attempt. They have to hit on, convert 3rd and 5 over and over and over again. It's really hard to do that on anybody, even with a bad Giants secondary. So if you lose big plays, it becomes tough to blow teams out. Also, 6 of the last 7 times these teams have played, it's finished within 1 score. Divisional games tend to be tougher to blow teams out in. These teams know each other very well. It is the return of Eli Manning. I don't know how excited we should get about that.
Is that better or worse for the Giants with Eli coming back?
I think Daniel Jones is the better player. The thing is, Jones has really struggled with fumbles and turnovers. And so if the Giants can keep control of the ball a little bit better, I think it'll help them stay in the game.
All right, so I brought up the return of Andy Dalton with the Bengals. But speaking of the Bengals, they're getting 7 in Cleveland right now. Has Cincinnati, or has he given Cincinnati at least enough stability to lure the Sharps to the Cincinnati side?
Well, there actually is money coming in on the Bengals right now, but to me, that seems like a false hope right now. I think that they got their win last week, and I think that they're going to, they're going to be playing off that right now. But this is a good spot for the Cleveland Browns. They're coming back home, and they have actually dominated against bad defenses all season long. The Cincinnati Bengals defense has played better as of late, but they still struggle big time against the run. And you look at, what the Cleveland Browns are able to do with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb is currently leading the NFL in rushing yards, over 1,100 rushing yards on the season. Kareem Hunt gives them another added element to this offense, his ability to catch passes out of the backfield. I think Jarvis Landry is due for another big game here. Ultimately, I think that the Bengals are going to be playing off a high from last week, beating the Jets. I don't know that that's going to be able to carry over this week. I think the Browns are the play.
And then Tampa 3-point favorites at home against the Colts. Injuries have just decimated the Colts, and Indy's top talent pool, has been almost eliminated because of all of these injuries. Eliot, is that recent shift kind of pushing the pro money to the other side?
Yeah, the Bucs are the right side on this one.
Okay.
You talk about big injuries. They're missing T.Y. Hilton, who is probably the one guy that scared people, and Eric Ebron. And Ebron's an up-and-down player, but without T.Y. Hilton,
he's a red zone target.
Right. Their pass success rate's only 44%. So it's very low, and they really want to win with their offensive line and the run game, but you don't do that against the Bucs, who are top 7 in every single advanced defensive line metric. And you can attack the Colts in the air. Jameis Winston, he's been up and down this year. We know about the turnovers, but when he's played with the lead, he has a 16-4 touchdown interception ratio. When he's played from behind, it's 6-13.
Wow.
So it's I think the Bucs can get up. They can play good football. And Brissett's not a guy that I want to be in a pass funnel situation. 50% of his games this year have gone for under 200 total yards. They just haven't attacked teams in the air. Without T.Y. Hilton, I'm not scared of the Colts passing game.
All right, let's talk about the Rams. 2-point home dogs, actually 1-point home dogs, I should say, to the Seahawks. Frank, the Rams found some offense last week. Does that give the Sharps maybe a little bit more confidence that they can keep that going?
Yeah, I think you look at the games that the Rams have struggled so far this season. They have scored less than 20 points 4 different times. That was against the 49ers, the Steelers, the Bears, and the Ravens. So those are all elite defenses, and I don't think that the Seattle Seahawks are that. They're right in the middle of the pack in terms of defensive efficiency. They are 16th in defense DVOA so far this season. So I'm not really scared of the Seattle Seahawks defense overall. And the one thing that the Ravens can do, that the Rams can do, is they are really tough against the run. And the Seattle Seahawks, they have the 4th highest rush percentage in the league. We just saw them, against Minnesota on Monday Night Football with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. They want to run the football. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that successfully. This is a revenge spot. You remember earlier on in the season, the Rams actually should have won that game. They had a late field goal miss,
right?
And I think that is going to rectify this week against the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, we'll wrap things up here on the top plays. A lot of top plays this week out of you guys. The Patriots giving the Chiefs 3 points in New England. Ellie, we know how dangerous Pat Mahomes can be, but does the fact they're playing the #1 defense make you pause a little bit? A little less tempting.
Well, they're playing the #1 defense, but that #1 defense has played 3 legitimate offenses. They got lit up by the Texans. They got lit up by the Ravens. The Cowboys did not light them up, though after last night where there start to be some concerns about whether or not that is a legit offense. Plus, they had the weather that really helped them out. Andy Reid has actually had Bill Belichick's number. The last 3 times they've played, the Chiefs scored 42 points with Alex Smith, 40 points, and 31 points. Those last 2 games with Patrick Mahomes, obviously. They know how to attack them with running backs. The last 2 games have over 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns from running backs alone. Tyreek Hill is speed. Patriots really struggle with speed. So you're going to say the Chiefs can score on the Patriots. Can the Patriots keep up with them? You know, if there's one thing that every bettor will agree with, it's that Father Time is undefeated. And right now, Father Time looks like he's beating up Tom Brady, who's 30th in completion percentage behind Mason Rudolph and Kyle Allen. He's averaging just 6.5 yards per attempt in neutral script games. I don't think that Tom Brady can keep up with the Chiefs this week.
Well, the Texans gave us a nice little game plan on how to get to the Patriots defense, and I would expect that the Chiefs offense, I should say, is a little bit more dangerous than the Texans, especially with a guy like Pat Mahomes. All right, that's a look at the top plays for Week 14 in the NFL. Make sure to keep up with the latest lines on sportsline.com. Eliot Crist of Quant Edge and Frank Stampfl of SportsGrid, thanks so much for being here. This is Fanalysis.